Hi, everybody. This is Alan Fine. I'm here with Dr. Tilman Blaschka, who is the CEO of Meissen Porcelain Manufacturing. Now, recently, as you know, I've done a tour of Saxony, and Meissen was one of the lovely towns. And the most exciting part of it, well, I shouldn't say that. There was a lot to see there, but the manufacturing of porcelain, you're going to learn about that today on Insider Travel Report. Tilman, thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure. Hello. Good to see you.
I had such a good time at your factory. The people were so warm, so informative, and I just want to give a little taste of that to our travel advisors so that they can tell their clients what's there to enjoy. So if you will indulge me, I will start to share some of my family films of Meissen. So I had the pleasure of coming by train because the town is walkable. And this was the first sight I saw coming off the train, taking the sweetest little walk to your factory. And then I got excited. I saw signs. I was near.
House of Meissen, our visitor center that we see here from the outside. So they're building houses, all the wonderful things we have to show people about the 313 years old world of Meissen.
Through the ages, the logo keeps changing.
Well, first of all, the logo exists since 1722.
Wow.
And the exciting thing about this is it is the oldest European trademark. So the first time any corporate trademark was entered into a trade registry, left side at the top, and the first entry was the swords of Meissen in the year 1722. It's actually quite interesting because when you go into an antique market and you bump into Meissen today, you can always find out from what age the porcelain is by the specific sword you find, because all Meissen porcelain carries these swords, all of it.
So we walk into your lobby.
Here we are. Yes, that's the big lobby. Correct. The introduction to the world of Meissen begins.
This is my first introduction to what is actually mined or the raw materials that you work with.
It's kaolin, and we actually have our own mine. Two people go down into this mine every day. And as you can see on this little image here, this is actually the way they work. And they come up with 2 to 3 wheelbarrows of kaolin every day. And what we have here, this is porcelain slurry. So the kaolin slurry in these big water basins, the kaolin gets an opportunity to sit down and rest. And just like wine needs its time to rest before it can go out for consumption, the porcelain sits out there for about 8 to 12 weeks. Not the porcelain, but the kaolin, before it is incorporated into the porcelain paste until it is combined with feldspar and with quartz. These are the big basins in which the kaolin, the cleansed kaolin is left to rest.
And there, that date is very significant.
Yes. So what you can see here is, and this also relates to the history, the company is over 300 years old, as I already mentioned. The first 150 years of this company's history were up on the hill in the castle. The second 150 years were down in the buildings that have been erected here that still exist today.
Then we took a walk.
Here you're entering the production building, and in the casting department, one does all the work with liquid, if you like, as you can see here, with liquid porcelain mass. This is used for making vases, for making all sorts of vessels which are hollow, as you can see here. These will probably be for Christmas balls. So to put on your Christmas tree, this is Christmas tree decoration coming out of these casts here.
Your artisans are really very, very exacting.
And you can see how much dedication is being put in here. Actually, I don't see much of the lady, but I recognize her as a very, very young lady. She's just come out of our apprentice school. We have 40 young people who are being trained continuously every year. 10 more people come online. She came online 2 years ago after her training to then participate in the real manufacturing process.
In fact, talk please a little bit about the fact that the school system visits. It is a trip that children look forward to while at school, and it gets them to think about a possible career here.
Yes. Well, the way this works in Meissen is you apply for a job here as a porcelain painter or for ceramic profession, and you learn everything about porcelain making here and porcelain painting. And that's a 3.5 year training process. And a lot of time is taken to make people really, really good at this, which is what is needed to guarantee the quality of Meissen porcelain.
There is no waste, that you're continually using and reusing materials.
Absolutely. So what you see here is these are things in the very, very handcrafty manufacturing process which didn't work out, or which were cut off during that process, but they are all being recycled. So in terms of sustainability, this is very amazing. 98% of all materials used and generated go back into production. Well, and you can see here, and this is very, very traditional turning process that is occurring here, as one might know from pottery, very similar, much more complexity due to the material that we're using here and due to the specific product this person is making, which is a very, very, very hard product. It's going to be a B-form cup at the end, a very, 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 very beautiful cup. When you make the cup at the beginning, it's still bigger, it's wet. As it dries, it shrinks a little bit. And after it goes through firing, what you see here with the cup on the left, when it goes through its first on-glaze firing, it will have shrunken by 16%. Everything that is made in Meissen, when it started out, is 16% bigger than when it comes out of its glaze firing.
Also, we're going to see the detail required for the attachments, like, for example, that handle.
Well, yes. What this gentleman was making first was just the hollow part of the cup, but the patterning comes out of that for this cup. You can see here it comes out of the cast, out of the mold, and then he adds to it by hand the handle, and then he goes through with equipment we would know from the dentist.
When you watch this, you think they don't charge enough money for the delicacy and the detail.
Well, when you see this, you certainly understand why Meissen is a price-intensive product. You're paying for handcraft. You're paying for the over 300 years heritage that's in here. Skills that have been passed down from generation to generation.
And then I wanted to make sure everyone understood that he is running the machine by foot.
That is correct. He's running the machine by foot.
Now, this is a library of sorts. It's a research area, isn't it?
Yes. Library is actually a good way of saying it. So it's our mold archive. In the process of making porcelain, you always need a negative. That's your mold or the cast. You need that in order to make the positive, which is your cup, your figurine, or your plate, or whatever. And these molds are all stored here. And Meissen has 700,000 molds, which have been accumulated over its history. And everything Meissen has ever made, you will find in this mold archive. All these negatives are the historical archive. And we always keep one mother mold so that we're able to remake a piece of Meissen as in this case. So this mold here is from the year 1737. It's the figurine in the back there. It consists of over 30 separate molds, which make up the set of molds that is required to make this figurine Petrus. And this is for the bookkeepers. This is the book in which all the mold, which is documented where you find which mold where. And you can see here, if you look at this page, the wonderful handwriting. This book is definitely from early 18th century. You can see by the handwriting. And what is put in here is the storage place of where that mold is, in what shelf, in what room, on what level in that shelf you will find it. This is the level of organization one had then.
I'm aware that you have customers who sometimes break something. They have a special set of maybe dishes or place settings, and then you can go back to the molds and can fill the gap, so to speak.
Yes. Well, various things can happen. It might be that someone sees a figurine and wants that whole figurine, and because it just doesn't exist, it was only made once or twice.
Oh, right.
And he might bump into this in a museum and says, "Oh, this is gorgeous, I want it,"
Right.
or in an old catalog. If
Right.
we have the molds, and in most cases we do, or we have some of the molds, then we're always capable of remaking it.
That's so great.
Sometimes we have a set of molds and one or two of them are damaged. Then we have our mold making people who will fix it.
Right, right.
Yeah. So what this person is doing here, essentially, this is the embossing process. The pieces have been put together from various molds, and out of that, one is making this one figurine. I think this is the dragon. This is a dragon figurine, which you see on the left there.
And she's working on a seam right now from one mold to the
Yes,
next.
she's working on a seam. So the pieces need to be put together from it's always a set of molds for one figurine. So all these flowers that you see are made by hand. Some of them come out of these mini molds, and some of them are actually just hand folded by people with their experience.
Yeah, that's something.
But what you see here all over is just the incredible amount of handcraft in there, the craftsmanship, the artisanship, the capabilities of these people. This is such a high skill level, and these skills are being preserved here. This is what it's all about in Meissen. For over 300 years, one's been looking after and fostering these skills, and still we do this today.
Now look at that.
Yep.
That was very, very
little blossom.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we have a little pug. And with modern patterning on it, gorgeous. Yes, so you can see these figurines. Some of them are very traditional, but what they do get today is a modern look. And that's the way the world is, taking things from the past into the present, and sometimes it's taking old figurines and giving them a new dress, giving them a new set of clothes. Yes, that's the part of the modernization process, besides also making new things.
Something. Look at that.
Yeah, and you can see the painters here. So as we're moving forward here now, you can see very, very well. There's so much detail to this painting here. And you have to bear in mind, it takes 3 years for someone to learn this, to be so good at it that he's able to really paint at this level of precision. It's much, much harder than on canvas for several reasons, just by the way the flow of the colors. But what you also have to bear in mind is that the colors change when they're being fired, so people have to anticipate what color to use before it goes into firing. You see here the swords making. Every piece of Meissen gets handmade swords put underneath it. This is the unique branding, and it's done by hand.
And she's very proud. This is all she does.
Yes, people are specialized to do this, and they've learned to do this. And every single sword she puts on there with a great, great level of pride.
Right.
Oh, and this is hand glazing. Obviously, for the porcelain to get its gloss and glaze effect, it has to be put through this process here. So you can see this is a vase, a fish mouth vase. Yes, exactly. And so this is the hand glazing process. So they've been, she dips it in there and has her experience. It's not allowed to be too thick. It's not allowed to be too thin. It's got to be just right so that it's perfect covering, equal covering over the entire vessel. Well, what you can see here is that the porcelain pieces are put into these trolleys, onto these big trolleys, and these trolleys move on tracks into the kiln. They spend their time in the kiln depending on what the firing time for those specific products is. The firing time is different for different types of products. And then it might be 1 day, it might be 2 days, it might even be, for some products, they're in there for 3 weeks.
And so now, having been through the factory itself, and then you come into this museum and you're just awestruck with what would go into making something like this.
This is a fantastic vase with all the skills on it. On the left of this vase, we actually also have this, what we call our jewelry box here. Is actually an item we still make today. This is for jewelry. It's one of our highest priced items. Everything Meissen has ever learned, you have figurines on it, you're combining it with the woodwork material here. So the combination of materials is very hard. Then the figurines on the top of this, if you like, jewelry case, is just every difficulty, also the different types of painting on it. Here we have something very exciting. This is an American bald eagle. The American ambassador, I think it was Amazon, who asked Meissen to make this bald eagle for his office. And he said, it's an American eagle. It's got to be proud, very proud. This is really a fantastic piece of art. We've made many more since then. So he got one, and we'd agreed that obviously we could make more of them once we go through this process. And very, very many people have, in Asia, in USA, even in Russia, have bought this bald eagle because it represents so much of the Meissen skills in sculptural work.
I was just looking at the details, since each finger had to be its own mold, and how seamless that looks.
Yep, that you will have very, very often.
Now, we had a nice little lunch there.
You can have a nice little meal here in Meissen, off Meissen porcelain.
That's the key. That's the key. I wanted to eat off Meissen porcelain, and I was glad.
Yes, absolutely. And now you're in the store, and this is the fine art room for the store. Beautiful, beautiful pieces here. And this is moving into the tableware section. Here. So this is a set table, a little bit more of white porcelain, just meeting the requirements of some of the tastes of today. We have both to offer, lots and lots of white porcelain, different styles, but also hand-painted colored porcelain. So we have different sections here.
This is where you get to do something yourself.
Yes. So what we've introduced is, because so many people have been asking for it, we've actually introduced a do-it-yourself section. You can actually get a Meissen mug and paint it yourself. I think there's nothing cooler, actually, to have your coffee in bed in the morning out of a Meissen mug, and it's even a unique mug which you actually gave coloring to yourself.
Right, right. Right. No, I saw people there for hours. I came back, they were still there. It really attracted the attention and the emotions and the excitement of the guests. So that was my visit to your factory. Tillman, do you have anything you want to say? We're going out to 126,000 travel advisors. You have anything you want to? Oh, in fact, and also let's give a call to action. Let's give a URL so people can go and look at all that you offer online.
Well, I think the message that I would have is, first of all, visiting Meissen. One thing is, You're learning a lot about the history of Meissen, the porcelain making. You're at the cradle of European and Western porcelain. It is the oldest company in Europe. It's the oldest brand. So that's one piece of it. But it's more than just that. Meissen is embedded into this beautiful old town of the town of Meissen. So when we talk about Meissen, it's the manufactory, but there's the town of Meissen. Has a romantic castle upstairs. When you walk up the hill, a little church. You will have you can have beer in Meissen. You can have wine in Meissen. We have a little brewery in Meissen that offers beer, Oktoberfest feeling all year, if you like. We have fantastic white wines, great vineyards. So there's also other things that one can add to that package. And by the way, it's only 30 kilometers away from Dresden, which is full of culture, very, very rich. So this is so easy, actually, to add Meissen into a visit to Dresden, or do it the other way around. It's just so easy and it's so natural. And you're getting more than just a standard museum visit.
So no, I will second that, because if our viewers watch, there will be a Dresden video as well, because that trip was easy for me to do. And so I definitely thank you for reminding us that. I thank you for spending time with us, and continued success with the factory, and keep bringing beauty into the world, please.
Well, my pleasure, and I hope some of the comments here helped you and will help people understand Meissen a little better.
Thank you. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.